Hi, I'm Dr. Kara, and here are three things you need to know going on in education this week. First off, all kinds of confirmations are going through the Senate right now for the new administration, and the Secretary for Education is no different, but the candidate for it is Linda McMahon. And you might be saying, that Linda McMahon, the wrestling Linda McMahon? And you would be correct. It is the wrestling Linda McMahon. And she has no real background or history in education or public policy. Um, I'm not supporting this person because she just has no knowledge about this, and I'm really worried what this means for public education, especially because she's part of the America First Policy Institute, and that's the one we talked about in last video that's trying to strip away First Amendment rights of children and just make public education worse for all children as it is. Next up, in Texas, there's a senator who's trying to propose a voucher program again. And just so you know, Texas rejected the voucher program when it first came around because rural families recognized that it was going to suck funding from their rural schools where there are no private school options and just give it to rich people who send their kids to private school anyways. So I hope that that fails because these families deserve a high quality education for their kids too. And last but not least, Senate Bill 1. The very first Senate bill of Ohio's General Assembly is a revitalization of Senate Bill 83. And if you followed any content that I've done, you know that this does a ton of things to higher education in Ohio. For example, students have to be able to come to their own conclusions about controversial topics. So if you have a student in a climate studies classroom, they get to come to their own conclusion about whether climate change is real or not. In the last one, it had carve outs for programs like school psychology that have to have discussions about diversity, equity, inclusion, and culture and cultural competency. That doesn't appear to be in this bill. So it might even just eliminate all accredited programs like mine. And it's really concerning that we might not have any school psychologists coming out of Ohio anymore, or social workers, or anything else. And the last one that I think is always just the funniest piece, because this bill is supposed to protect conservative professors and students from the liberal institution, but it's going to make every end of the year course evaluation have a question in it of whether the professor was free of bias and politically neutral. And 2 videos ago, we talked about a professor who dead named a student, and the student body became really upset about that. I imagine they would not rate that professor as being politically neutral. So I think it's going to just hurt those conservative teachers that they're trying to protect. So those are our three things in education this week. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's important to you.